Hiya Cole, always a pleasure to work with you at the range. Great to see you again the other day. Great work on your swing. One of the highlights of my day was looking at the comparisons of, going back a few months, maybe 12, 18 months when you first started on this to where you are now. I mean, we're looking at things now in your swing, thinking, oh, that's not quite right. And when you compare it to what it was, I mean, it's just night and day. Massive progress. Really proud of the work you've done and the effort you've put into it. So here we go today, looking at it. A little bit long at P4. Tend to get that left arm bending, not excessive, but just a little bit too long at P4. And then we're sort of from P4 to P5, we're tending to lower the butt of the club by dropping the right shoulder a little bit, which is fine. The right shoulder's got to work down, but as the right shoulder's working down, we'd want accumulator 4 and accumulator 1 starting to release. And what we're tending to do here is we're tending to hang on to accumulator 1, the right arm in particular. The wrists are already starting to unload at that point, really. Just trying to keep the club moving. Body tends to open up a little bit excessively. We get that bent left arm look. And P6 with the shaft of the golf club isn't really low enough, and the left arm isn't really advanced enough. And as a result, now we see this more with your driver than we do with your iron, but as a result, we get a little bit too much tilt in the shoulders, and the upper centre drifts back ever so slightly. As I said, it's more noticeable with your driver than it is with your irons. From there, the tendency then is to just dump to try and release the club at the last minute, just to let it catch up with the body. The body's a little bit too much unwinding of the body. Arms aren't really keeping up with it. P6 needs to be deeper or lower and needs to be more advanced. So just tightening things up at P6. Once we've done that, then what we need to start doing then is learning to extend and tuck. You can see there's quite a lot of forward flexion going on from P7 to P8. And when we looked at it down the line, quite unusual in the fact that your inclination changed from P6. The club was quite in behind your hands because of what's been going on with the transition, hanging on to accumulator 1, upper centre translating back. But then from P6 to P8, your head actually moves down and towards the golf ball, and as you flex forward, that shifts the plane to the left and lines things up. Certainly from your P6 position, when viewed from down the line, you'd expect to see a really high exit, and that's far from what we get. We don't get a high exit at all. We get quite a good exit, which is why you hit the ball so straight. It's just not a really good way of doing things. You make it work, but it's not as good as it should be. What we're trying to work on here is feeling like we're increasing the pressure on pressure point 1 and 2. So pad of the left hand, left or right hand against the left thumb. You can see that's going to accumulate. Accumulator 1 is expanding sooner. Accumulator 4 is accelerating more. And accumulator 2, the wrist, is going to be maintained for longer. So you can see what we're saying before, obviously in an extreme manner. But P6 now is lower and more advanced than what we're seeing over here. We've also got more weight loaded into this left leg. One of the things we tend to notice with yourself is on occasion that left leg braces a little bit too quickly, and again it's a way of just trying to help you shift the plane a little bit more to the left. On this one, this is about 4 or 5 shots in, trying to increase those pressure points and also shorten P4. So the feeling is to swing to P3, which gives us a much tighter looking top of the backswing position. Then we're going to try and increase the pressure. I feel like we're really pushing down on pressure point 1 and 2. As we do that and we're doing the drill, we don't want the body to unwind. And what we've ended up with here now is a P6 that's slightly more advanced and slightly lower. You can see the belt line there. And that's a sure sign that accumulator 1 has increased. And we measured it on V1 and there was a change of about 12 units in that measurement there. So you're expanding the back side of the triangle, maintaining the lag on the golf club, and that in turn, I'm just going to sync these up for now, ignore the other screens, that in turn reduces the amount of dumping and increases the amount of shaft lean coming into impact. And as we said, from there now you've just got to learn to tuck the hips and extend better rather than flexing forward. So the remainder of the lesson was trying to improve that position there that we see, P9. And the way we suggest you do that is to isolate the key pieces. Get away from my sink. Get rid of those lines. I'll put that impact position back for you, Colin. You can't see that enough really at this stage because you've worked hard enough at it. Handle further forward, weight more into the left side, body rotating open less, more flying wedge maintained, and as a result we've got a little bit more linear movement here, the right foot's not popping up as much, etc, etc. So key pieces of the downswing or through swing, coming down from P6 to P8, we should have a full extension, so we're going to tuck the hips, keeping the arms on the rib cage. We would have raised the handle of the golf club fractionally, so we can uncock the wrists. We would max out the hip slide, which is maintaining our inclination to the ground, and then we would have the rotation of the body to take us into quite a different look as we come through the golf ball. So I'll just run that through one more time for you. It's all about isolating the key pieces. You're going to tuck the hips, extend as fully as you can, keeping the arms on the rib cage, uncock the wrist, which is raising the handle through impact, max out the hip slide, which is allowing you to maintain your inclination to the ground, and then add the rotation of the body to get a feel for gaining this tucked look through the golf ball. After a little bit of work on that, you can see the end result. Watch the belt raise as you come through. You weren't getting that at the start of your session. P6 got a little bit sloppy on that one, a little bit too much away from you. But having said that, what you did well on this one is you straightened that left knee at the correct time. You were tucking the hips. You were raising the hip or the belt line. And you can see there much more tilt and extension as you're coming through the golf ball. Right side extended, left side extended, hips are tucked, belts raised, and even some extension in the neck there. Great work, can't wait to see how it progresses in 2013. If we can get that putter going, mate, we can pick up some good checks. Have a great Christmas, and we look forward to playing a bit of golf next year. Well done.